Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Built for the Stage podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, founder and host of Built for the Stage, Broadway's #1 fitness platform. With actor athletes in over 20 Broadway shows, stages on the West End in London, Australia, collegiate theaters across the country, and many more, we are your one stop shop for all things theater and fitness. Check it out, builtforthestage.com. You'll be on your way with a free trial working one on one with me on an interactive fitness app. All right, let's get on to our special guest. I'm doing this podcast from the well decorated office of my parents' home in Ohio. Looks slightly ridiculous, but we're going to go with it. No offense, Mom. You did a great job. But yeah, our guest is currently in Some Like It Hot, playing the role of Osgood. Super funny, super talented human being here. You've also seen them in Frozen on Broadway, Peter and the Starcatcher, Rocky. Rocky. I want to chat. If this is the Rocky I'm thinking about, I'd love to chat with our guest about this. Yeah, let's bring him on. Like I said, from Some Like It Hot, Kevin Del Aguila. And the crowd goes
Mild.
wild. No, you're on a roll. Before everyone listening, before we hit record, Kevin was already putting out some zingers, already making
Oh,
me laugh. So okay, and the crowd goes mild. Okay, I'm gonna remember that one too. That's a good one. That's a good one. Thanks so much again for taking the time to chat. Appreciate it.
thank you for having me, Joe. It's good to be here.
Let's wait. In your bio, I stumbled across Rocky. There, are we talking about Rocky Balboa, the boxing Broadway show from like 2012 or 13 or something like that?
We are indeed talking about Rocky the musical on Broadway. Yes,
I
I
saw it.
was.
I was there. I was
You
in the
did.
seats. Oh yeah, I was there. Got my playbill still. I
Fantastic.
got everything.
You
What
got it all. Yeah.
I mean, side note, I have every playbill from every show I've ever seen. So but I have the Rocky playbill. What was your role in the show?
I played basically everyone in Philadelphia. I played like a million different parts in there. The best known was the guy at the ice rink saying, "Hey, you've got 30 minutes. Get out of here."
Of course. That's a iconic scene. Iconic scene. Yeah. Oh, I love that you probably didn't think you were gonna chat about Rocky there,
I
but
know nobody ever wants to talk Rocky, but here we
here we
are.
are. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Rocky's a tough one because the fan base is so particular and so passionate that like you can't mess with their Rocky, you know? So I don't know how they took it when they came into the seats. So
It was wild. I mean, and I say this all the time when I talk about Rocky is that like the things about it that were great, and the
mm.
things that were not so great were not great at all. So it had this wild like uh, feeling like that, and I think uh, but yeah, the things that were amazing were amazing. The last 20 minutes of the fight where the ring moved out into the middle of the theater and the entire audience was around it, basically cast as viewers of the fight, and they would
Right.
react, they would stand up and cheer and yell, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was very exciting. The things that were great about it, like I said, were really 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 great. So it was a great time.
Yeah, yeah. Clients of mine and friends, Adam Perry and James Brown the
Oh
third,
yes,
and
of course.
yeah, they gave me all the stories. So, all
Oh
right,
yeah.
well, let's hop out of Philadelphia and we'll segue into yourself before we get into Some Like It Hot. When did like performance come about? Was this something growing up that you always knew, like, this is what I'm doing? Or are you one of the people that it stumbled into your life? How did it come about?
I think I was one of the people that always sort of knew it, and it's weird because I mean, I remember I remember like in first or second grade being on the playground and going like, I'm one of the best players on this playground. Other kids, I come up with the best play for recess, and I remember
Uh-huh.
having that thought, thinking like, I'm really good at playing. And I had a friend in first and second grade, my best friend, and his dad was in um, a community theater production of Cabaret, and he was like, "We're going to go see it." And so I went with him to see Cabaret, and I didn't understand a word of it, but his dad was playing the MC, and my friend kept saying, "He's going to dance with a gorilla in the second act." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I don't know if I believe you." And then sure enough, he danced with a gorilla in the second act. And that was just so exciting. It was just so, for some reason, having like a connection to the performer in the show, seeing my friend's dad performing, and looking at it and going like, "Hey, there's adults on stage playing like I play. I understand
Yeah.
this." I think that was the first real kind of feeling of like, yeah, this is something I can do, and that's in my blood. And then weirdly, like growing up, I didn't have any kind of, like, they didn't have a drama program at my high school, and um, so whenever I wanted to do something, there wasn't any kind of outlet available. And I remember my mom said, "Well, there's a community college, and they have like nighttime classes. I think there's an improv class if you want to go to that." And I was like, "Okay." So my first real like performance thing was at this improv class at the community college. So it was me and these college people, and we would do improv, and it was actually the greatest. It was the greatest introduction to acting because it was all about listening, responding, being in the moment. It was everything that you need to do on stage, and weirdly, I was thrown right into it, and I loved it. I loved it, and the people there were super talented, and so that just like fanned the flame, and I was in a bunch of community theater productions uh, after that, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, so I always
Okay,
wanted to do
cool.
it, and I always felt like I could.
There you go. I always wanted to, and I always felt like I could. That's a great tagline
Whether
right
I was
there.
right or not, I don't know, but I always felt like I could.
Hey, you got to make the jump and find out. That's the main crippling factor for a lot of people. They're
That's right.
unwilling to take the leap. So,
Right.
uh, thanks for that bit of inspiration. Anyone listening out there, if you're tentative on jumping, get after it. Just take a leap. If you fail, you fail. All right, let's fast forward. So you are in a community college doing improv as a younger person. Now though, you fast forward into a consistent professional career. Something that I wanted to ask you was just like going into these roles, is it always the same preparation wise for you as far as pillars, or do you kind of mix things up on what the show is or what the character is, depending on the requirements you have in front of you?
Uh, I think it's always different. I think it all depends on the show. The show plays by its own rules, has its own set of you know um, it's like a game, and you've got to learn the rules of the game, and you got to know what your part is in the game, and you've got to know what part you're playing on the team, and yeah, so I feel like it's always kind of different, and you bring your little bag of tricks into it. You see how many you can use.
Yeah.
You do your best and throw yourself into it, and then little by little you start to kind of figure out exactly what your place inside of it is.
Do you,
That seems to be always the way.
do you like to start with the physical? Do you like to start with a backstory creation? Or is it like you're saying, it's different for every role?
I think it's different. I just jump in. You read it. You usually I'm cast in kind of some character, comedic character role, and so I'm always looking for where the humor is, and in the readings and in the lines and stuff. And
Yeah.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But then once things get on their feet, usually it's just searching for those moments, to find humor in a scene, or to find the right tone in a scene, or play the moment and land a moment in a scene. It's mostly about just landing moments correctly to tell the story the best way possible. I feel like just
Yeah.
doing that, once you do that consistently, you pretty much find your way.
Yeah, I mean, your role is always good. I mean, it's already such a funny show. So to say that your character is comedic relief really wouldn't be appropriate because so much of it is funny, but you're like that central character that no matter what's coming out of your mouth for the most part, you can depend on it making you laugh. So I really appreciated that. Was there any type of walls or barriers to get through to kind of just let yourself get to that place of, I guess I would call it like genuine silliness is what the character he he kind of is like he doesn't know, it's just who he is. I feel like up there. Uh was that natural for you, or did you have some things to kind of acquire along the way?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing because it's based on the movie. So, when we did the first reading of the musical, I was just sort of basing it off of my idea of, or my memory of the actor Joey Brown who played Osgood in the movie, and I just remember him having this kind of silly, simple, kind of innocent kind of look on his face, and so that's the way I kind of approached the character, was just this sort of like daffy, kind of silly,
Yeah.
simple, kind of innocent man child kind of guy, and it really worked with the character, and I still haven't gone back to look at the movie, but people keep telling me, they're like, well, he's a little different in the movie. He's a little bit more of a kind of a dirty old man, and he's kind of, it's a little more lecherous. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't remember that at all. And they're like, good, your faulty memory was good for our show, and so
Yeah.
so yeah, I think just that level of innocence and that level of fun and kind of goofiness seemed to work um, for the character in lots of ways, because, as you say, he's this kind of comedic, kind of loony kind of guy who falls in love with Daphne, um, and I think that it really helped to make him sort of innocent and stuff. So it wasn't like he was some sort of creep that's stalking her, or some sort of um, you know uh, um, dirty old man.
Yeah.
He has a genuine, innocent honesty,
Yeah,
to him, that I
understood.
think is important in a show that has so much kind of deceit and false, you know, fake alter egos and all of that stuff. So
Right, right, right. Take us back to Tony season. How exciting was that when you were nominated for, I think, 13 Tony nominations? It had to have been just a roller coaster. There's that, I guess, month leading up to it, and yeah,
it was bananas. Yeah, it was bananas. It was, I mean, the thing is that the show is so much fun and so much, it's just so joyful and exciting. And so we already felt very privileged to be, part of this show. And then when all the Tony stuff started to blow up, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is whipped cream and cherries on top of everything, and it was just so much fun. It was just so delightful, and so it was so happy to see so many people acknowledged for their work in the show, because I look around, on stage, and I'm just like, everybody involved in this show is just super, super talented and very committed and very, they're working hard and they're having a lot of fun. And it's just so great to see that acknowledged, and to see it, um, especially around Tony time, come to, because it really felt like a celebration. It didn't feel
yeah,
like a competition. It felt like, we're all celebrating this after all the years that we've had with COVID. Like, finally, we're back on stage, audiences are coming, and we're celebrating that. So all of it was just joyous.
yeah. Congratulations. I saw the show, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago. I was beaming. It gives you that old school musical theater vibe that I missed, because we love a movie musical, but this is based off a movie, but there's like a, I don't know, there's a sense of traditional musical theater about it. The door scene, just a lot
Yeah.
of it. It was very enjoyable. Let's take a break from the show to put you on what I like to call the BFTS hot seat.
Oh no.
Uh, I had a guest though call it the warm seat, and that should
Oh,
be something that makes you feel good because it wasn't so hot.
it makes you
And
feel like you've wet your pants.
Yes,
The
you know,
warm seat.
yes, yeah. Okay, so maybe you'll be so excited about this, you'll piss yourself. Who knows? All right. So the BFTS hot seat begins now. It should have our music playing here, I think. There we go.
Oh,
There's
I
some
hear it.
some music. So first question: you're not allowed to be a performer at all. You have to be some other profession. What are you gonna do?
This is a trick question. I'm also a writer, so I would be a writer. I would be able to write plays, musicals, TV
All
shows.
right, we're gonna do a part two. You can't do anything in the arts. No
Oh
art.
no!
No arts. What are you gonna do?
Uh I would. Can I work at an amusement park?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'd do that probably. Why not?
As what? The a ticket person, a person that puts up the roller. What are you gonna do?
I'd like sell cotton candy or something. Something
Okay. I love
bringing
it.
joy to others.
I love it. Okay,
Does that pay
you're
well? Does it pay well to
probably
sell
not.
cotton
Probably
candy?
not. You're you're
No
flipping.
insurance?
No insurance. Probably no.
Okay.
All right, you're flipping through the channels on cable. No Netflix, no stream. We're on cable, okay? And a
Okay.
movie comes up that you've seen numerous times. But no matter how many times the movie comes up, you got to stop and watch it. What's that movie?
Arthur. The movie Arthur
Arthur.
with Dudley Moore.
Okay.
Or Tootsie. Arthur and Tootsie are two of my favorite movies of all time. They're
All right, there we
fantastic.
go. You wake up, or maybe right now, maybe your vibes are low, and
Yes.
you need a song to pick you up. What's one of your go-to songs that makes you strut down the street whistling and having a good day?
Um uh Maybe something by some funk, like Parliament Funkadelic,
Yeah, okay.
or yeah.
I'm with it. That's a good answer. I'm with that. Okay, so last question. You're in a time machine. You can go any place, anytime, doing anything. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? What's the time period?
I feel like I want to go back to the 70s. The 70s felt like such a good time. You could just like there wasn't any social media. You could just there wasn't it just felt like such a free and easy time, and
Yeah.
there was
No
good
one.
art and good movies and good music, and people were driving around without seat belts. They didn't care if they got hurt. It was a messy, wonderful time.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I lied. I'm going to give you one more question. I like
Okay.
this one. You show up to a restaurant and you're supposed to meet three people, three friends of yours, and they all cancel, and you're super sad. But the hostess says, "Hey, I'm going to give you this magic ticket here, and you actually can get three people to replace your friends, living or dead. Who are real or fake? Could even be a cartoon character. Who are the three people that are going to show up to have dinner with you?"
Um, let's see. How about Bugs Bunny?
Okay,
Um,
that's a good one.
Steve Martin,
Yeah,
um, and Mary Tyler Moore.
y'all gonna have a hell of a time.
We're gonna we're gonna have a fun time.
Y'all are you're gonna get kicked out of that restaurant. I'll tell you that. You're gonna get kicked out. Okay, congratulations. You're off the BFTS
Oh,
hot seat, warm seat, cold seat. You're off the seat.
my pants are still dry. I didn't wet
All
them.
right, you didn't wet yourself. Good. Oh, my face is hurting from laughing too much. Jeez, take it easy on me. All right, take it easy. Uh, all right, to turn the corner and to start to head to the end of our conversation here, I'm curious for those that listen to this podcast. A lot of the time, they're in that like college to maybe low 20s. They're preparing to be a professional. What's something that you look back on or even still are living to this day that highs or lows, this habit or this mindset or this thing you learned from someone down the road has kept you moving in this extremely challenging profession?
Gosh, that's a hard question. Yeah, it's a hard business, and I when I came to New York to be an actor. I was a young character actor, and I got told right away, people don't need young character actors. You're going to have a great career in 20 years. And I was like, well,
Mm,
what am I supposed to do for 20 years? Um, and uh, and the answer was anything you can. I wrote. My writing career started to take off. I would self-produce my own plays that I wrote. Um, Children's theater, they were the ones that needed character actors, young character actors, someone to play, dogs and cats and cows and aliens and whatever it was. And I still work for this children's theater company that hired me as an actor way back when. I write for them, I direct for them. And they've been a great training ground for me working in the arts and learning the discipline of working in the arts. Um, I think if you have that little spark of, I have something to offer, I know I have something to offer. Until that spark goes out, until that little flame that you're carrying around goes out, you have to just find a way to do it. And I think that's like, perform as much as you can, get in front of an audience as much as you can, be seen as much as you can, even if it means getting some other unemployed actors together and producing your own play, putting up your own work. Um, Renting out a place. Like I said, it's not easy, but any opportunity to try to perform, to try to practice your craft was like always helpful. If not in the immediate um, term, uh, it helps you move forward. It's good for your soul. It's good for your craft. It's good for your skills. It's keeping yourself moving and thinking. And weirdly, it opens up doors that you wouldn't normally imagine. I spent a lot of my time trying to get like, oh, here's a play I wrote and I really want it to be off Broadway. That's my big goal. And that never happened. But somebody saw a reading of this and offered me something else. And suddenly I was writing a show called Altar Boys, which ran 5 years off Broadway. And I was like, I never would have imagined that I'd be writing this, boy band, religious boy band musical that suddenly is off Broadway, where this one little show that I put all my hopes and dreams in never happened, but it opened a door elsewhere. And I think following all those open doors, wherever they lead you, that's your life in the arts.
that's amazing. Altar Boys was the third show I ever saw in New York.
Is that right?
Yeah, third
Oh my
show that
gosh.
yeah, I remember it to this day. Was it tell me the theater it was in?
It was in New World Stages. Originally,
Right.
when it opened there, it was called Dodger Stages. And it
Yeah,
was one of the
yeah.
first shows that was there. Yeah, New World Stages, stage 4, I think.
Yeah, I remember being so confused, like going down the escalator and all that. I've been to
Right.
many shows there since then, but being a young kid, not expecting that. Yeah, I was sat house left. I was probably maybe 12 rows back or so, and it was a buddy of mine that came with me from. We had graduated high school, and he didn't know anything about theater, so I brought
Uh-huh.
him to this show called Altar Boys, and, and he had a good time. He had a good time. Yeah, Frankie
Fantastic.
Ross. But wow, cool, cool. Stumbled upon Rocky and Altar Boys now. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. So that was really helpful because this is something that clients of mine, friends of mine talk about often is producing their own work or like having that desire to because it's a running theme like hey don't wait for someone else to give you the permission to practice your craft or perform do it yourself when you're starting out trying to produce some of your own stuff what's something that if you could tell someone hey here's like the important things to try to check off the list in the beginning to get the ball rolling what would those things be for someone
Um, you need collaborators. You need people that are going to help you. I mean, I had a group. I really, my whole goal was to have like a theater company and like, we could produce plays that I wrote and we could be in them and I direct them and blah, blah, blah. And that kind of happened. Like I had like a group of friends and we wrote stuff together and we put it up. But it was just like, it's really like pushing a boulder up a mountain. It's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of money and it's a lot of it just takes a lot of will. Um, and amazing stories came from these days. Incredible like highs and lows. From these things. Um, but I think the main thing to keep in mind is just like you need other people that are on board with you, other people, uh, um, to work with, because it's a heavy lift, and it starts to bond you to these people. You start to have a community. You start to have people that share the same vision, and that's very important as you're moving your way through. Also, you know, um, longevity is the key to a life in the theater. Like the longer
Mm,
you're around, the more, I hate to say it, but your type, your competition starts to fall away, and
mm.
the longer you're around, the more people can't ignore you. So, I've found that's something that is rung true throughout the years. So if you can hang in there, hopefully there's a little light at the end of the tunnel.
I love it. I just wrote that down for a little timestamp to definitely highlight for sure. Love that. All right, so thanks so much. To close this out, you're not in Some Like It Hot. Maybe you've seen it. You've seen it. You are talking to someone else and they say, "What musical should I see?" And your answer obviously will be Some Like It Hot, but why? Why should, someone out there, what is it that you love about the show that just brings you joy or brings something meaningful to you that you would tell someone else, "Hey, this is why you need to see it."
Some Like It Hot is old school, big, flashy Broadway. But that makes it sound so dusty and old fashioned that I hate when people say that. It's true, but I hate when people say that because there is nothing old or dusty about this show. It is vibrant, it is alive. The people on stage are the best of the best. You cannot believe some of the talent that's up there. It is so blindingly good. And I'm on stage with them, and I am amazed constantly by it. The people who put this together are very smart, very wise. They took amazing risks doing this. Our producers took an amazing risk doing this. And I just feel like it's paid off in such spectacular way. If you're going to miss Some Like It Hot, you will miss something very special. It is
Ah,
tremendous.
love it. Kevin,
And
thanks
I'm
so
just
much for
grateful to be a part of it. I can't believe they invite me to the party. I look around. There are moments in Some Like It Hot where I drop all acting at all. I look around and I go, "How the hell did I wind up here? This is amazing. I'm so grateful to be there and so lucky."
Well, I appreciate your humility, but also you deserve to be up there. You made that jump like we talked about earlier in the episode, and yeah, it's a pleasure. It was a pleasure seeing you up there. So, anybody out there, if you haven't seen Some Like It Hot yet, and you're in New York, go and see it. And if you're not in New York, buy a plane ticket with your ticket to the show, and head on over to Some Like It Hot. Kevin, thanks so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Kevin Del Aguila from Some Like It Hot. If you want to give Kevin a follow on the gram, you can do so in the description of this episode. But I'll say it here, it's Kevin of the Eagle, which I believe he said before we hit record that his last name means the Eagle. I think so. Can you give me a head shake if I'm right or wrong back there in the back? He says yes. Okay, great. That's also kind of a badass nickname, right? Kevin could just be like strutting around the streets with his street cred saying, "I'm Kevin the Eagle," You better watch yourself. All right. I'm Joe Roscoe with Built for the Stage. Actors or athletes, train like one. Later.